I said it at my press conference, but if there was any doubters, there's no more. Everybody thinks of him as a runner, but the way he was able to throw the football, especially in the Super Bowl, it shows the talent that he has.
And that ball is landed in the perfect place.
He had the best performance in the Super Bowl that I've ever seen of a quarterback. Running the ball, throwing the ball, he balled out.
My favorite play of him is the Super Bowl two-point conversion. A lot of traffic, just able to maneuver around and to get those extra 2 points.
Hurts has done everything imaginable.
The way that he works, I expect him to get better and better every year, and I expect to play him in a lot of big games as my career goes on.
Let me talk my shit again.
This is Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, CASSIUS Cliff. Before we get into this video and breaking down how we should absolutely, positively get this Super Bowl victory in New Orleans tomorrow, around this time the game is going to be starting. Please like, share, subscribe, as well as comment. It goes a long way. Thank you in advance. Before we get into this, and as I just mentioned, and really, as you just heard, you heard Chris Jones, an All-Pro, future Hall of Famer, Pat Mahomes, who is vying to be the greatest quarterback of all time, first ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt. You've heard Peyton Manning, you've heard Tom Brady, you've heard Warren Moon. Countless people who have played the position, who played the sport at a high level. Talk about a guy like Jalen Hurts. And really, if you do not want to take their word and really their expertise when it comes to what this team should be able to offer in this game, definitely check out this hype video dropped by the admins for the Philadelphia Eagles. If you want to run through a wall, if you want to get hyped for this game, aside from what I'm giving you right now, because I promise you, after watching this video, I was ready to put on a helmet and shoulder pads. I haven't played football in a very long time, and I promise you, I could give you 10 plays after watching this video. Because this Philadelphia Eagles team, given the fact that we went through injuries early on in the season, going 2-2 to win 10 games in a row, to go 10-1 to finish the season. Excuse me, 11-1 to finish the season. Actually, we went better than that. What am I saying? We won 10 games in a row. We started off 2-2. Let's see, we won 14 games, right? Yeah. We lost one game after that. So we did go 10-1. People want to talk about how we ended the season last year, and I've been trying to stress it more. I've been trying to stress it extensively. How we are not the same team that people think we were last year. This defense, this offense, the coaching staff are vastly different. If you don't believe me, look at the numbers, because I've said them numerous times. Pass defense, total defense, points scored, rushing defense. We're talking about a different defense, not even entirely, but in terms of the production and the attitude, you would think it's a different defense. A lot of the guys are still here from last year, but with the injection of two rookies like Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, adding a guy that was already here, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, a first-team All-Pro in Zach Bond that was formed and fortified and forged in the defense that Vic Fangio employed out there. How, as a fan, are we supposed to be concerned and worried about a Kansas City Chiefs team that's just not as good as we saw 2 years ago? If I said to you that I'm in any way, shape, or form intimidated by this team. There's been no better defense in all of football than this Philadelphia Eagles team. Forced to turn turnovers in the entirety of the playoffs. 4 in the first game going against the Green Bay Packers, 2 against the Los Angeles Rams, and 4 again against the Commanders. I mean, come on, bro. We know that Pat Mahomes is one of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks in the NFL history. We're aware of what he's done, even against us. For him to close this chapter on his three-peat, it began with us, it's going to have to end with us. And I'm here to say, I don't think the book's going to end the way they think it's going to end. I know a lot of people refuse to bet against Pat Mahomes, given what he's done in the past against this team, given what he did last year against the 49ers in that Super Bowl, even this year, going 15-2, 15-1 when Pat was starting, winning a lot of close games. They didn't score over 30 points at all until seeing the Bills, which I thought the Bills overachieved, and ultimately they made it to the conference championship game. That got to be respected. But this Kansas City Chiefs team and this offense specifically has not seen a defense like this all year. I was over here probably by myself, probably aside from Eagles fans, saying that not only were the Vikings frauds perpetrating, so were the Lions. These are the top, supposedly or supposed to be the top 2 seeds in the conference and NFC when it came to the Lions and the Vikings. And I didn't see anybody to be fearful of, anybody to be worried about. Dare I say, I feel the same when it comes to these Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, we're not going against a rookie quarterback in Jalen Daniels with a subpar offensive cast when it came to the Commanders. We're not going against Matthew Stafford, the statue, which I think Matthew Stafford is still a great quarterback. People think he was going to beat us. We're not even going against the young savior, the young golden child in Jordan Love, who even though he did not have one of his starting receivers, they thought they could beat us in our crib. Here we are, February 8th, the day before the Super Bowl, just under 24 hours before this game even starts off. And we're over here talking about the Super Bowl and how we're supposed to and we're going to win this game in New Orleans. I mean, we've been putting narratives to bed all season. Not only have we turned the tide when it comes to this defense, people thought Saquon Barkley was a waste of money and we paid too much for him. They even said that he should have went for the rushing record. And why are we packing him up and keeping him under bubble wrap for the last game of the season? Give him the record. Who knows if you're going to make it to the Super Bowl? Give him the record. Well, fuck the record, because here we are vying for the ring. We're playing for things that matter. Y'all want to talk about numbers to when it comes to how y'all look at players and teams and ultimately who you think is going to win. But I'm here to tell you and put it simply. There is only been one ultimate team sport in all of sports. That is the game of football. And contrary to belief, Pat Mahomes did not win these games by himself. So when it comes down to what he's going to see in this Philadelphia Eagles, they ain't got enough. In the words of a wise man, that's not enough. Few solid league and that's not enough. We're going to be seeing Kendrick Lamar at halftime as fans, as people that are going to be watching the Super Bowl. There's not been a more appropriate Super Bowl halftime performer than Kendrick Lamar when it comes to these Philadelphia Eagles. Because I firmly believe and I know they have not seen a team like us. The Texans, the Bills are not like us. They're really not. Saquon Barkley, come on, man. You're talking about a guy that I'm still trying to figure out if this guy was born on Earth. I don't know if he's a human being, but I know he plays for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he passed all tests when it comes down to PEDs and all that good shit. That guy is on the field, game in and game out. He didn't even miss a game this season, aside from when we rested him when he should have got the record. Well, clearly the record doesn't matter at this point because we're worried about a Super Bowl victory now. In New Orleans going against a team that, yes, the Kansas City Chiefs have a better defense than, let's say, a team like the Kansas City Chiefs of last year. The Kansas City Chiefs of last year, their defense was good. The defense is probably better. If you ask a guy like me, I think their defense is better this year. But ultimately, this is a team game. And when you got a guy like DeAndre Swift, an offensive coordinator like Brian Johnson, a defensive coordinator like Sean Desai, this team was not built and prepared adequately enough to make a playoff run for the entirety of the season. Yes, we know we went 10-1, and much of people's willful, ignorance and amnesia, the Chiefs were a part of that 10-1 run where Jalen Hurts was supposed to be, he was an MVP candidate at this point in time of the season, off the backs of beating the Chiefs and then following it up with Josh Allen the very next week in overtime. People were not talking about passing yards. They were not talking about passing numbers. They were talking about turnovers when it came to Jalen Hurts. And lo and behold, this year, without the numbers being gaudy and him protecting the ball, They still have things they want to say and really excuses they want to make as to why this team is good. 2 years ago, we were in that Super Bowl. Saquon Barkley was on the New York Giants. He was on that beaten path on the way to the Super Bowl. There's certain things that are constant and certain things that are different. One thing that is constant, though, Jalen Hurts is a bona fide winner. He knows how to win football games. And here we are thinking that it is more about that than just winning football games. Tomorrow is the biggest game of the season, but it is still a football game. And what it's going to come down to, I believe, first 15 plays, how is your defense and your offense going to actually execute? How are they going to perform? Are there going to be any turnovers? Because Jalen Hurts has 0 turnovers in the entire playoffs. Not one turnover. In the postseason, he has over 10 touchdowns? No, he has around seven touchdowns, 0 turnovers. Pat has actually a fumble going against the Bills, I believe it was. But if you look at the Steelers game in which Saquon Barkley cannot be leaned on enough, he did not carry the offense. Much of people's surprise, and they're just like against what people think has happened. They think that Saquon Barkley carried this entire offense for the entirety of the season. But when it came to games in which Saquon Barkley did not carry, what did Jalen Hurts do? Going against the Steelers right here, Jalen Hurts led us to this victory. Hitting his receivers early and often, both of them getting over 100 yards and a touchdown. Yes, the Chiefs have a better defense than the Steelers. There's no argument about that. But when it comes down to the questions that are still being posed about a guy that's a second-team All-Pro, been in 2 Super Bowls in 3 years, outperformed Pat Mahomes in that very Super Bowl in which he lost. I mean, you have guys out here saying they respect him in that loss more than in wins against teams like, I don't know, against the Rams and the Packers. Either game against the Packers, either game against the Rams, they respect Jalen Hurts more in a loss against the Kansas City Chiefs than in a win where he protects the ball. He turned the ball over in that Super Bowl. I firmly believe that has a huge reason in why we lost. We lost by less than 7 points. He gave away 6. I'm not the best at math, but that's simple math. Very simple math. Ultimately, what we have in this team is very vastly different than anything that the Kansas City Chiefs seen, and they're about to find out very soon. I'm just here to let y'all know what's about to happen. I'm not here to convince y'all. I don't think I'm a prophet, but I'd be lying to you if I didn't think I had a bead and a handprint on understanding what's going on and what's really been presented to me and really what's been presented to everybody. We have been witnessing and watching the best team in football all season. This is the ultimate team sport, and when it comes down to it, creating turnovers, scoring touchdowns, protecting the ball, that is how you get to the big game. That is how you win the big game. It's not solely off the back of a quarterback. It's not because your coach is the best offensive head coach. It's not because your defensive coordinator has been able to stop other rushers and keep them under 100 yards. They have never seen Saquon Barkley. They've never seen his defense. They've never seen an efficient Jalen Hurts like they've seen all season. Other teams that have seen them, they've won what? They beat Jalen Hurts 2 times? The one loss that Jalen Hurts took against the Commanders, he didn't finish that game. He was out after the first quarter, within the first quarter. But when it came down to it, and we understood what we did best and we knew what our identity was, there's no stopping us. The only team that can stop us from winning the Super Bowl is the Philadelphia Eagles. Call me crazy if you want to. The Kansas City Chiefs are just not enough to beat us. I've seen, I believe, the best quarterback and really full team performance we could have seen all season. If there was a team led by a great quarterback that could have beaten us, and it would have been like, okay, we need to reevaluate things, Joe Burrow, Lamar, or even Jordan Love. Dare I say Matthew Stafford. Any of those quarterbacks, all those quarterbacks, had opportunities as considered better quarterbacks than Jalen Hurts to beat us and show us that you're better. Excuse me, numbers are not the litmus test and really not the way you judge a quarterback. It's by wins and losses. Teams are judged by wins and losses. Yes, the Chiefs have a better record in the regular season, but they didn't see what we saw, and ultimately, they've never seen us. The same way people pick the Packers, they pick the Rams, people even pick the Commanders to beat us. They're over here banging, they're banking, and they're twerking for the Chiefs today. And I'm just here to tell y'all, like I've been saying it for weeks, it ain't gonna be enough. I'm sorry. And really, I'm not sorry. I've been trying to tell y'all and inform y'all, and at this point, if you choose to go up against what I've been saying and really what you've been seeing, you're just willfully ignorant. There's not much to give you. There's not much to help you with. This will always remain the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I promise you, it's going to be more wilder after we win the Super Bowl. I look forward to seeing y'all at the parade in just a couple of days. Shout out to all the people that already took off because y'all have the vision. Y'all see me in my Eagles robe. Y'all see me with the shades on, with a Saquon Barkley jersey on. Not only am I confident, I'm clearly comfortable. I don't fear the Chiefs, nor does his team. I firmly believe we're gonna remind people why football is ultimate team sport, and it's not only won and lost by quarterback play. With that being said, this is the Talk My Shit Again podcast. I'm your humbly hostile host, Cassius Cliff. I'll be seeing y'all very soon. And in Philly, we out.